Welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer. Welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer. Welcome. This is the studio with Paul Shearer. And today I've got Crawford Smith, who's a fantastic musician I met just recently. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Aye, thanks for having me along.
Oh, mate, no bother at all. It's great to have you. Now, what's been happening musically with you recently, Crawford? What have you been up to?
Well,
We were just talking about some Gala Day stuff there and some more local stuff.
loads of gigs happening. I've got all my usual kind of open mics and stuff that I run in the south side of Glasgow. I'm doing a lot of bookings for a couple of places, and got some gigs coming up down where I live in Lochwinnock. I've got a couple of things.
So where's your nights in Glasgow that you do?
So it's a Sunday night open mic in a place called the Stag and Thistle, all in the Shawlands area, and a Tuesday night open mic as well in the Corona Bar.
Right.
That's my two regulars. I used to do a lot more down there, but moved out of the city 5 years ago. So
It's the transport out of the city's a nightmare. Even through to Barton, which is no far from the city, but trying to get in and out for gigs is problematic.
Yeah.
So when did we first bump into each other? At Neil's night in the bowling club.
That's right. Aye, was it Sunshine Studios?
Aye. That was. I've actually been trying to speak to Neil to get him in for us, but he's been busy with something himself just now. I'm not sure what he's got going on, but that was a good night as well. And like it was a more kind of community thing where Neil's getting a lot of the kids that he teaches and that involved in their first gigs, and something really cool. Like you didn't really have that. It was like when we were growing up, it was like, right, you're old enough to play in a pub now. That was the first gig. Do you know what I mean? That was the start of things.
Aye.
So what's your musical upbringing? How did you get into music?
Well, I was a grunge
Crawford?
kid.
Oh, really? Right.
Aye, man, I was a grunge kid. I was born 1980, and by 92, 93, as a young teenager, it was all Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. So that was the stuff that got me into it. And a bunch of mates. One of them had some music tuition. He could play piano and he could play guitar and all that, and he just basically showed me where to put my fingers on a bass.
Aye, that was a very similar experience with my mate getting me to play bass in his band.
Yeah, man, that's it. You're thrown into a band and just jumping about. You know, but I think it must have been 94 or 95 or something. There was a summer we spent hanging about with him and his big brother and getting into like the Beatles and Rolling Stones and all sorts of stuff like that, Led Zeppelin, things like that.
As you do, the classic guitar stuff.
It just all opened up, you know. Neil Young as well, an old pal of mine, Johnny Surf. He got me right into like Neil Young and Lou Reed and Bob Dylan and all that sort of stuff.
Bob Dylan was a big one for me as well.
Man.
See, that's the thing. It's like how you get into music and what your early influences are sometimes blends into the same question here, doesn't it? You know, so like that was the same though for me. Like Pink Floyd, Bob Marley, Bob Dylan.
Yeah, man.
My old ma, basically, she was always like, here's the good stuff. Here's the good stuff. Do you know what I mean? No, that's brilliant, man. So what about like your first gig and stuff? When did you first play?
It's kind of tricky for me. That I don't really remember. I do remember. I've got some memories of playing where we grew up. Well, with the grunge kids, we just jumped about in my mate's room. You know,
aye.
He had this massive house in Barhead, and it was the old mayor of Barhead's house. It's just behind the main street, and his mum and dad were doctors, and a huge big house, you know, massive big room, drum kit always set up.
That's cool.
Baby grand and all that sitting there. So we just jumped about there. But I didn't play any gigs with them, I don't think. And this is going way back, man. But I remember doing gigs, a couple of pub gigs. I think we were called Surfs Up. That was with Johnny Surf. And just backing him up.
Aye. That's cool, man. That's cool. When would that have been then?
I don't know, 98 or something like
98, post
Um,
pre-2000,
that. Something like that. Aye, it was
that's
like
cool,
before the
man.
internet.
That would have been like 2 years, mate, probably before I started getting into bands and that as well.
Aye,
But that's cool, man.
Aye, it's a while ago now, man. Aye.
So that was our grunge setup, Surfs Up. What was a 3-piece?
Well, that wasn't the grunge stuff. No, that was like Neil Young and Bob Dylan.
Oh,
sort of stuff.
right. Cool,
Aye, and
cool.
it was dead loose. It was just a couple of gigs here and there. We did it for fun, you know.
Aye. Well, that's it. But that's where it all starts, isn't it? You
Aye.
know, I think back to some of the nights when I was young, playing gigs, playing terribly at points. You know what I mean? And I think back to I think that was a nightmare. And then I realised now it's why I do everything I do now. Do you
It's
know
just
what I mean?
learning. Aye, you're grabbing the ropes there and getting a hold of it.
Aye.
So I don't remember making any money off it or ever thinking that I could. And round about, oh no, actually, but before that, there was gigs happening. My mates, I got into work. I must have started working at 16, and my mates at the time kept going. They had a band called Silvertone,
Right.
and they were real serious. Like, I'm going to do this forever.
Aye.
This is my career. And I kinda,
Even at that age, they
Aye.
know.
and they were a couple of years older than me, and I kind of laughed. You know, we all shared a flat in Shawlands, and I kind of laughed at the time and said that's you're never going to make money for that.
Aye.
This was back in the day.
We all heard that at some point, didn't we?
You had to go. There was no internet. You had to go to the venue week after week after week and like annoy people and get in their face to try and get a gig, and then you had to sell tickets and try and make money. It didn't seem that you could make money from it.
Aye. It did never seem like a potential for success, kind of thing.
Aye. So and I was the one that had the job and the motor. So I ended up kind of driving them about from gig to gig, and I don't know, just chatting
Doing your duty.
chatting up chicks.
As you do.